Lloyd, could you please roll call?
Yes. Hoffman. Clark. Delaney.
Here.
Gutsy.
Here.
Safaro.
Here.
Eric.
Here.
Wingelmeyer. Embry. And Stauffer.
Here. Have any of those that are not here asked to be excused?
They all have it,
They all have.
including Jerry.
Okay. Then I'd like a motion to excuse those who have asked to be excused.
I'll make a motion to excuse, Mr. Hoffman, Ms. Clark, Ms. Hembry,
I'm
Mr.
here.
Wiggleman.
Clark is here, he's here.
Oh, excuse me, yeah,
Okay.
sorry, Mr. Wingemeyer and,
Mr. Walker.
Walker, thank you.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Nothing? Okay, motion carried. You have before you the minutes from the October 2023 meeting. Do we have a motion to accept? Are there any questions?
I motion to accept the minutes as written.
Support.
Okay, all those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Those who don't, same. Minutes approved. Agenda approval. We have before you the agenda for this evening. Any changes, additions, deletions? Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as written?
Motion, go ahead. So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those who don't, same. Agenda approved. You also have before you the financial report for October. Are there any questions, comments?
Yeah, I just got just clarification. What are these monies that we paid at Plant Moran?
I had the same question.
So those are part of the audit and work that we get done through the village, so part of their work that we pay to the village for their services,
So it's our share of the.
our share of that.
Got it, okay. And then the other one was the Urban Scape Self-Watering Plan.
Yeah, those were the new flower pots that we got for Battle Alley.
Got it, okay.
Any other questions about the financial report? We show a beginning balance of $306,971.50. Ending balance $317,927.26. Do I have a motion to accept the financial report?
Motion to accept the financial report.
Support?
Support.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Okay, the financial report is approved. At this time, we're welcome to take a public comment for items on the agenda. Is there anyone that would like to make comments about the agenda? Anna?
Anna Matson, 15091 Western Valley. I appreciate some commentary on the financial report this time around. I believe a sheet is still missing though. There's the first page that says the check disbursements, but I'm not seeing anything that actually lines up those amounts to the actual charge. So just to put this into perspective, it's like you have an employee who has a credit card to do their job, business credit card, and it's like at the end of the month, they just say, yep, this is how much I spent, and you have no idea what they actually spent it on. And it's like, you don't ask them questions, you're like, okay, that's fine. And so there's several like $1,000 charges, like $5,000, $2,000, and I just didn't see in previous months, there is a check disbursement report that actually, it says a little bit more about what that expense actually is. So it's just, again, we need to be asking these questions because it's really important with budgeting. I mean, how do you even know some things you actually need to spend money on? You might actually look at all your expenses and be like, wait, why do we need this many dollars in training? Like, what does all this training do? You know, like, we might wanna look at some things and say what's necessary, what's not, but how do you do that if you don't know what you're spending it on? So I do appreciate some commentary tonight, on the financial report, but I just think we need to like beef it up a little bit and have some more accountability. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments? John?
John Love. I agree with what she said, there's no money. You know, how much was the cement work that we just had done on this tree project? How much were the trees? Do you know? You don't know?
Offhand, I don't.
Then there's, some of the unfinished business of the Tacky Town that we're running here. The train club has 2 trees that were marked for cutting and were never cut down. They don't match, one of them's half dead. But the trees in front of, that were on private property in front of the hotel were cut down. And then I was over there and the trees didn't match. They have the same diameter trunk, but the leaf configuration is not matched. They match very nicely in front of the Winglemar gas station, and that's the way they should be in the hotel. The other one is ugly banners. Those banners are faded, tacky, and characteristic and set the tone for the whole entry of the town. We have new ones. I talked to the DPW guy, and he says it's on his list. But it's evidently after everything else is done, maybe they'll pick up the leaves first. This is going on. The lamp poles. We have the nice Christmas lights that were left from last year, but the lamp poles look tacky because they're unpainted. This is tacky, and I'm objecting to this. We're all doing this great job, but the place looks tacky. I'd like to see it moved up at least half a notch. And the trees wasn't the idea. They had to pave the whole area. No, put the cement right to the curb. They could have had some green space on that part of the street, which would have made it look nicer. But no, we're gonna do whatever we did before, because if it was bad before, we gotta keep it going. So that's kind of
John, I appreciate your comments, but these are supposed to be comments directed on the agenda,
a,
and those 2 items are not on the agenda.
what I'll do is I'll skip the session at the end where you talk about any one thing you wanna do. How's that?
The public comments?
Yeah.
Yeah, those should wait for public comments.
I know, but what I'll do is just skip it.
I don't think that you can just rewrite the agenda.
Nobody can do anything.
Thank you, John. Okay, let's move on to new business. There is a board action request from the design committee.
Yeah, I'll speak to that.
Okay.
We had some unexpected budget use for this year, including replacing some of the dead boxwoods. And then there was some other, having 2 large items placed in our line item, in the design committee line item, that's actually gonna be covered by a grant for Oakland County, which equals about $7,000. I'm just reading this here from Nick. In essence, the design committee is asking the board to, for an additional $10,000 to cover the lights going up for Christmas this year and for the flower pots for next spring.
Does that come out of project work? Where would that come out of, Nick?
It's project and design, so there's a project design line.
Right.
So the 2 items that Dr. Safar was talking about that are covered by grants were through Oakland County, the grant that we have through that we got the new flower pots and the new garbage cans for Battle Alley. So those are covered by the grant, but they needed to go into a line item, so obviously they fit into design.
Okay.
But we're being reimbursed for those, so that's part of that. And then the other part were the boxwoods, we weren't planning on those dying, so we obviously wanted to replace those.
Okay,
Which really is the $3,000.
so it's really
Makes
$3,000
sense.
and we're looking
Yeah.
at $3,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my, request to the board.
So it's essentially 3,000.
3,000.
In essence, it's a net $3,000 increase over what the original budget was.
And then we get charged each year for the lights, right? I forgot what that was. For them to put up the lights, it's not company coming in and they put up the lights for us and they charge
Yes.
us for that.
Yes.
How much was that again? I was just
About
wondering.
7,000, I believe.
Okay,
6 or 7, yeah.
every year. For the-
Yes, unless we decide to expand on what we currently have going
Gotcha.
on, then he
I couldn't
buys,
remember
he
what it
buys,
was.
yeah.
Okay.
But it usually stays about the same because, he doesn't charge us as much, obviously, each year to put them back up, so. But if we add some,
Sure.
And Mr. Trump, that, grant is already secure, correct?
yes.
Oh, thank you.
So it really is 3,000.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So do we have a motion then to accept the, action request in the amount of $3,000?
Somebody.
So moved.
Thank you. Support. It's a roll call vote, it's money.
Yes, it is. Nick, Lee?
Sopar,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Stauffer,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Delaney,
Yes.
and Carson.
Yes.
Old business. Depot update. Nick, you have an update for us?
Yeah, I just kinda wanted to give a quick update, just because, a month or so ago, I, talked about some things that we're waiting on with the depot. So I just wanted to kinda give an update on what I know so far with that. You know, as I said, we have the money to move the depot, to get that done, it's ready to move on our end. But we're waiting for the billboard company and, Lake State Rail to move some things in order to, out of our way. And Brian Clausen and I, Brian from the DPW, met with the chief engineer from Lake State about getting a timeline moving forward, because we had met with the CEO of Lake State, and he said, oh yeah, it's great, we'll do it, and then nothing's happened, so. So we met with him again, and this week he's to get us a new timeline, a more concrete plan of when that is gonna happen. The billboard is ready, they're getting ready to move it, so that's gonna be done, that's not an issue. But Lake State is now talking about, which after all our conversations, it's, you know, kind of ironic, I guess. They're talking about maybe doing a hybrid plan, moving the lines, of just maybe temporarily moving some of the lines in order for us to move the depot, which is what we originally proposed to them. So, that will end up, hopefully that will end up being cheaper for us in the long run to be able to do that, and once they decide on when, it'll be quicker, you know, it'll be a faster process for it to happen, so. And then on another note, you know, I talked a few months ago about applying for the RAP grant with Oakland County. Oakland County applied as an entity for our region. There are 4 counties that are part of our region that could apply for that. It's a Michigan grant, the RAP grant. And there were 16 communities that went in with Oakland County to apply for that grant. So we were all very confident in that, because of Main Street's pull and all that they do, and they were putting in monies as well to help us with matching that grant. But it ended up that they did not get that grant. And actually, out of all of our counties in our region, Oakland County didn't get any of that grant money, which was about $16 million that went to all the other counties. So Main Street is looking into that. But on that side, that means we obviously did not get that as well. But on another note, the upside of that is that Oakland County is still willing to put forth the money that they were going to give for the match for us, to each of the communities that applied for that grant. Those matching funds that they're originally gonna give to us, and so they're still planning on getting us that money, those leftover funds. It just needs to get approved through the county commissioners, so if you know any county commissioners, maybe talk to them about it.
And what was the amount?
So they're still kind of going back and forth on that, but originally it was for us, they were gonna match us with 400,000. So it's still a good chunk of money, you know, it'll really help us in, once we have the depot moved and the restoration process of that. It just, with the RAP grant, it would have paid for the rest of what we needed, so. But this is still a big chunk of money, that hopefully the county can help us with. And there's no action required for that, it was just an update that I wanted to give.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nick, just one other thing, the new, public restrooms, where are we at with that?
So they have, the DPW is working with Curtin Lumber and coming up with the design for that and the cost of materials and all that, they're putting that together. They were originally hoping to have that in this fall, but, I think they were waiting for some things from Curtin is kind of where the holdup is with that. But the original, I know we talked about it in our design meeting. What they're looking at what they're wanting to do is to match the depot with the restrooms and kind of make the restrooms look like the old baggage building that was there next to the depot, so that it matches alongside the depot. So it's not just some rinky-dink, restroom that's sitting out there, but, has some historical significance to it.
Great.
Very good.
Okay, committee reports. Any of our committees have a report?
You pretty much summed it up in the director report for promotions, unless there's anything you want to add. On the other
So,
committees as well.
design committee, we did meet, as Nick said, and, so we met with, Nick Wamback, who is our Christmas light guy, and, talked about, the light plan for this year, keeping the same plan, new trees, gonna be lighting those when they go up. Also talked about the possibility, and then Gatchel Park, the lighting that tall pine tree there in the middle of the park, which I think is stunning. Also to adding more lights to the gazebo, he's able to do that this year. Not only the perimeter of the roof line, but actually the ridge line too, there's like that new clip that's out on the market, he's gonna be able to do that. And looking at adding a ground display, happy holiday, display in front of Holland Plaza on the lawn here, to get something in North End, so we're looking at that. Don't know if we're gonna be able to get that ordered and delivered in time for this season or not, so looking at that. We talked about the restroom and have design committee has some input on the design for that, once we get the plans for that. Talked about the depot, talked about flower pots for next year, so lots of stuff, so.
Great. Anybody else? No? Do you have anything to add to your report?
I do not.
No? And obviously, no report from Jerry?
Right.
Correct. All right, at this time, I'll open it up for public comment on anything that you would like to discuss. Go ahead, John.
Can we say some more?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
At what time we're gonna put the restrooms that are existing in the depot, so I don't know if we can build it on a building. Talking about this financial deal, there should be a list of what was spent during after the meeting, what was received, not just the totals. This is just amateur stuff. talked about the rest of the issues, so. That's about the extra.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comments? Yeah, okay.
We'll pass it. Okay, Anna Matson, 15091 Western Valley. So this is in tomorrow's village council agenda. I am really gonna try to not get too heated. I think it is really, really insulting and really, really crazy that this is not in front of this board. That there was a $20,000 shortage on what that tree project was gonna cost, and it did not come to this board. And to bypass this, and I hope I'm wrong, I hope we can clear this up. Because at all appearances, it looks like we didn't wanna say we were wrong, so we're gonna go to council and ask them to cover this $20,000 to do this tree project. Because some people on this board fought really hard. John Love fought really hard to have a solid plan in place, that we needed to calculate how much cement we needed, what trees are going where, the grades. But that didn't happen. We said, let's push it through. Someone quoted, we don't wanna micromanage this project. But this is what happens when we don't manage these projects, guys. We're down $20,000, and the DDA is sitting here with $320 grand in the bank. And you're gonna go to the village council and ask them for $20,000 out of their funds that is supposed to be fixing our sidewalks and our roads that so many people have complained about. And lawsuits are happening in the village because people are falling. And we wanna go to them and ask them for money. And why it gets me heated is because some of you may not know, but our village parks board only gets $10,000 in discretionary funds a year. You guys are sitting with $320,000. If the village has $20K to give, I'm sorry, but it shouldn't be to you guys. It should be to our parks. You guys have the money. So I'm very disappointed that, and I know it's not your fault. None of you guys knew this. I found this because I looked at the council packet tonight. One person knew that this was happening because he approves the agenda for council. You guys should be frustrated. This should be in front of you guys. You guys should have voted on if you wanted to spend this $20,000 for this project. Thank you.
Anyone ever built a house, done a project, done a renovation? You have, your store. Have overages, over budget?
I have a question though, is this actually coming out of our budget, or is this
It is not.
DPW?
It is not overage. This is the village and the DDA working together. Because this is a major roads, so it's coming out of major roads from the DPW. That money is because it can be used for sidewalks, which if you look at the sidewalks, it's the original work that we were supposed to do, we're just piecemealing it together. Instead, we decided to do all of the sidewalks through that whole area. They're all brand new through there. So the DPW through major roads partnered with the DDA to do this. It is not a shortfall on our side. It's a partnership, which is what the village and the DDA are to do.
You know, but in other words, Nick, you're saying we're using funds that are designated for fixing sidewalks to fix sidewalks?
That's exactly
That
what
is
they're.
shocking.
And those sidewalks need to be fixed.
They were terrible.
And I just
And
wanna say,
just on another side note, just in case anyone notices, one of the trees that were supposed to be replaced down there ended up not being able to be replaced, the one that's in front of Lanco. And the reason for that is because once they cut down the trees and started to grind down the stump, that tree was wrapped up and up against the utilities. And I can't remember if it's the sewer or the water that goes on that side of the road. And so the company would not touch it because they were afraid what might have happened if they moved that. So again, why the design committee decided to do this was because of that danger and what might happen, so.
and even if there was a shortfall, every project tends to go over budget because of things of that nature. I mean, I'm just saying that.
We budgeted and project cost for this project. And we didn't use that up, so.
I feel like we're always on the attack, so that's a defend, all I'm saying. Feels like that.
Do we have any more public comments? Yes, hello.
Hello. Lori Allgaier, 121 Alley Street. So a couple of things. I think the sidewalks look great. It's definitely a noticeable improvement, and I'm excited about it. And then also, are we allowed to ask questions in public comment, or is it only supposed to? I would like to coordinate a volunteer appreciation. And I didn't know if that's something that is in the budget, or if it's like, do I need to request money for that, or, we haven't done anything, and I did mention it to Nick, and the reason I'm coming here is because it's gonna be more money that Nick can give, but no, I don't know. But we haven't done anything in like 5 years, and I'd like to do something nice. I threw an idea out to Nick, but then I have a lot of ideas, and I don't know if it's something that you guys would wanna do, or if it's something that you guys would like let me plan, and.
Well, I think it belongs to the organization committee, so I think if we discussed it there, that
Okay.
we could, we have a budget and we have, that is part of the budget, so,
Oh, cool,
yeah.
okay. So it's only, I made a list of all of our people that actually, like, and it's only about 14 people, so, there's that. And then I would also like to extend to Mr. Love the opportunity to come volunteer for Main Street, so we can maybe paint some things and improve some things. If you ever wanna help with doing the work, we can get her done then.
Okay, we'll go for therapy.
I'm in therapy, brother. No.
See you, bye.
All right, so, okay, we'll talk about it.
Thank
then.
you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Any board comments this evening? Anybody, anything on your minds?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.